We're now joined by Yuri Borechka, who is president and CEO of Hope for Ukraine. First of all, Yuri, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
The media's attention span largely is like a gnat, and the public comparable. Even though we're not as focused or not focused much at all, the reality exists in Ukraine in this war. Please describe it to us, and in addition to that, your personal experience.
So, I was thinking about this. So I just give you some numbers.
Sure.
So by latest estimates, there are 8 million refugees that left the country, Ukrainian refugees affected by this war. And internally, we have 6 million people who are internally displaced inside of the country. So when you put everything together, that's 14 million people that's affected by this crisis. So this is more than state of New Jersey. Can you imagine you wake up one day and the entire state of New Jersey just disappeared from the map and their lives is destroyed? So that's the reality on the ground. And I totally understand that as the media cycle goes on, people get tired of hearing about Ukraine and getting tired of hearing about what's going on there, because that's just human nature. But the life and the reality on the ground is worse than ever, because right now, the people who've been affected by this war look back and they understand they will never go back to their homes. They will never go back to their jobs. They will never be able to go back to the life they used to live before February 24, 2022. So we are in the process of dealing with a lot of emotional trauma, a lot of situations where people need to start from ground zero, and trying to rebuild their life. And for me personally, it's very close to home because my father still in Ukraine, 3 of my sisters still there. So these 14 months has been very personal for me, because I have to wake up every day thinking, are they still alive? So that's what's going on the ground.
Yuri, first of all, your dad's 85 years of age?
Yes.
How do you communicate with him?
He has a Viber, so I got him a smartphone. So
that's great.
My sister taught him how to use it, so I call him when they have a light and when they have internet connection. Yeah.
Describe for folks, as we put the website up, what Hope for Ukraine is, the services you're providing.
So with humanitarian aid organization, our primary and main project is feeding people in Ukraine. So since the war started, we have delivered over 70 million meals to people in Ukraine. So every day we have a network of over 100 volunteers that come to our warehouses in Lviv, Ukraine, which is right on the Polish border. They load up the vans with food that we have purchased through donations that people have given to Hope for Ukraine. And we put together the grocery kits, and it's taken to all different parts of Ukraine, to the front line towns. And this type of kit can feed a family of 4 for about a week or so.
So if someone contributes, those dollars are going directly to help a family in Ukraine?
Yes, so 90% of every dollar that is donated go directly to the cause. So we making sure that all the aid gets to the end recipient, and we have checks and balances in place to make sure that people are helped, because a need is so dire that we get every day hundreds of emails and messages from people on the ground asking for help.
Describe President Zelensky. I'm a student of leadership. People are, I'm sure they're tired of hearing me say that. I try to study leadership from a variety of perspectives, and I've been fascinated by President Zelensky's leadership. Talk about it.
I mean, his biggest accomplishment is his communication ability with the people in Ukraine. So every day he's been going on the air communicating to Ukrainians, first of all. Because when you're going through the difficult times like this, the most important part is to have a glimmer of hope. So right now in Ukraine, even when Zelensky came here to United States, he still communicates, because if the people don't hear from him one day, they start to lose hope. And I think in time of crisis, that's where he came in and showing a serious leadership and to constantly communicating with the public, constantly communicating, letting people know each and every day what's going on the ground.
Can I ask you, I'm curious about this. There are some in the United States, some in New Jersey and across this country who I don't think I'm misinterpreting this, but somehow explain away or lionize or think of President Putin in Russia as a strong man leader. You say what about Putin?
I mean, he's coward. The guy doesn't leave his bunker. All the media, the Russian propaganda media, every time they show him, do some kind of visits outside of his little shell that he lives in, it's usually he's doubles, So it's a big Hollywood production that they put together to show him that he goes somewhere, visit soldiers and stuff like that. If you look at Zelensky, the guy went to some of the most dangerous parts of the front. I mean, to go to Bakhmut. I mean, Bakhmut is the most dangerous part of the world at the present time. And he was not afraid. He went recently to Avdiivka. That's another place that's constantly being attacked. So, I mean, he's definitely have a lot of guts, to say the least.
Before I let you go, Yuri, for people in New Jersey, and again, the region across the country, say, you know what? Ukraine is terrible what's going on there. Not our thing. It's not our country. We have too many things to worry about right here. And you know what? Let them figure it out with Russia. You say what to them right now?
I'm saying, listen, if Ukraine falls, the next going to be Poland. The next going to be Germany. So, at this, like once in a century, there's this choice that stands behind us. Are you going to be on the right side of the history? And what's Ukraine doing now is they fighting for the freedom. They're fighting for their own freedom. We have no choice. Because if we don't fight, there's going to be no Ukraine tomorrow. And if Ukraine falls, the rest of the Europe and the rest of the free world will fall. And then what we're going to be faced with? We're going to be faced with dictatorship that kills, children, that steals our children, that rapes women, that wakes up one day and decides, okay, you know what, I'm going to occupy because I have a big army. So we are at a crossroads of the history right now. And for everyone will, look back and say, hey, you know what, I was on the right side of the history. That's why it's a very important fight. It's not only a Ukrainian fight. I think it's a fight for entire free world. And that's what we're at right now,
Yuri, first, thank you for joining us. Second, to your family, we hope and pray that they're safe, and to the people of Ukraine. I promise that, at least on our end, as a state regional-based broadcast, we'll continue to have meaningful programming that, because there's such a large Ukrainian population in this state, in this region. And as Yuri said, it's not my job to editorialize, but this is not an isolated situation. Yuri, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
I'm Steve Adubato. See you next time.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, Kane University, New Brunswick Development Corporation, RWJ Barnabas Health, Let's Be Healthy Together, Operating Engineers, Local 825, IBEW Local 102, NJM Insurance Group, PSC&G, Newark Board of Education, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State, and by Employers Association of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
PSC&G is building the utility of the future, a future where people use less energy, and it's cleaner, safer, and delivered more reliably than ever. We are modernizing to lower emissions, support more renewables and electric vehicles, and reduce outages. and we are empowering our customers. At PSE&G, we are powering progress.